Throughout the pandemic, as rates kept on increasing, if you shopped it at that time, everybody would have given you a higher price or a very similar price. But now that we're in the soft market, bigger organizations like Aviva Intact, a lot of people are dropping premium just to chase after, market trends.
You're listening to the Dore Podcast, where we spotlight the people, ideas, and businesses keeping Ottawa running. From contractors to real estate investors, entrepreneurs to industry experts, we dive into real conversations and help grow everybody's pie.
Episode 46, Navor.
So welcome back to another episode of the Dore Podcast, where we talk to industry leaders, innovators, local experts shaping the Ottawa real estate and property landscape. I'm your host, Dan Dore, and today we've got a fantastic guest. And like I was teasing you at the beginning, when we met you, I'm like, we got to get James on the podcast. So after a tremendous amount of harassment, we got you.
Yeah, finally, we were able to reel me in. Yeah.
So James, obviously you're dedicated to redefining how people think about insurance and building real relationships, tailoring coverage to fit unique needs in the insurance industry. So, jokes apart, like we're genuinely, when we met you, I think it was the beginning of the summer or something. We're like, we all left the event like, James, man, what a nice guy to talk to. So I'm happy you agreed to come on, even though we kind of coerced you to do it. But
No, it wasn't too bad of a course. And you guys were amazing at that at the RIMS event. So I was excited to come on the podcast.
Good stuff. No, thank you. So James, it'd be nice to learn, like, how did you get involved in the insurance industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started with banking. So out of university, I came into the banking world. So I was actually working at retail banking for the Bank of Montreal. I started as a teller and then worked my way up to personal banker. So it took a year as a teller, then a year as a personal banker to develop my career in banking. And during that time, I had a really close client out in my branch in Stittsville. And every time I saw him, he kept on saying, hey, you're fantastic at your job. You should look at switching careers. So then every time I saw that, he had 6 kids. So I did all of the kids banking, and every year he'd come back, and he did the same path that I did, right? So he was at the University of Ottawa, at Telfer, the same as me. He worked at retail banking. He became branch manager in banking at BMO, and he switched over to insurance. So in between there, he also had a couple other jobs, but he's like, James, you need to make this switch. He's done the retail side. He said, hey, if you want to make more money, you should definitely look at switching. During my career at the Bank of Montreal, we did open a brand new branch downtown during the pandemic. And that was quite a bit of a challenge because it was, peak COVID. No one wanted to see people in person. So it was a challenge. And to me, we did get really good brand recognition, within BMO from our regional manager. It's just, I saw the writing on the wall where you can kind of see AI was taking over portions of retail banking.
Sure.
Some mortgages became automated. If you were someone with a very simple T4 with very simple investments, just an easy, accessible person, it would go through an AI system and then get approved.
In 2020.
In 2020, 2020 and 2021. So you could kind of see AI was taking over certain roles. And I think, I've been out of banking for 4 years, but from my understanding, it is coming more prevalent in banking as well. And ever since I left the bank, I couldn't, I haven't been to the bank except for just get cash, which is very rare these days. My client at the time at the bank, he was the one that talked me into moving. And one day I gave him a call. I was like, hey, I kind of want to move out of banking. You said there was a position open with Marsh at the time. And I think 3 months later, I was hired on by Marsh. So
nice.
Made the transition that way. Worked with my manager at the time very closely. I saw a huge variety of different risks, from school placements out in Alberta to government to crowd and corps to tech companies to just anything under that umbrella. So it was a great experience at Marsh. I was there for 2 years as an associate. Got to be the fly on the wall, see how insurance worked, did my Rebo license. So I was able to sell insurance if I needed to, but it was just a great transition time to experience commercial insurance. And then 2 years after that, I had an opportunity to become an account exec, so manage my own accounts at Aon. The office manager reached out then, and I made the switch there and stuck it out for 2 years, saw some things that were not really up to my par of how I like to be in an organization. And then, Navor came knocking on the door saying, hey, there's a great opportunity to join one of Canada's fastest growing brokerages. Had an interview and talked to some ex-coworkers that also made the jump. And
there you go.
Yeah, okay. and they made my decision very easy
to
switch over to Navor. So that's how it all started.
And is it a natural? This is interesting. Is it a natural progression for people to be in banking to go into insurance, or is that unique?
It's funny you say.
First time I hear that, I'm like. Really?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's I've met a variety of insurance people, because the insurance world is really small, right? Even in Ottawa, across Canada. And it's funny you say that, because there are not necessarily just retail banking people, but people on the risk side will move over to the insurance world, because insurance is a form of risk management, right? It's a very small aspect of risk management. But there are people that have done retail banking and made the switch over. Yeah,
absolutely. That's interesting, because there's a few people that work with that are in commercial real estate as realtors, and that I work with, and they some of them were in lending, and then get into brokerage, obviously for investment sales and all that, and obviously it brings that, having the knowledge of how these deals actually come together in a big asset. So I'm curious. I'm like, really, insurance? But that's awesome, because it all works. They're all included in the real estate world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's great experience to have all around. So
yeah, it's fun, and I think the sales aspect certainly ties together very similarly, from banking to commercial insurance to anything, right? It's about meeting people. It's about learning about people's experiences and kind of getting to know people. And even with wealth management, that's how you kind of stick with your client base, right? So it's very similar to insurance.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. And I mean, obviously, anybody that knows you knows you've got a great personality. You're easy to talk to, and that's what led us. I'm repeating myself. That's what we're like. Oh, we got to get James on. I want to have a chat with James. And one of the approach. I mean, at Navor, they actually promote the fact that there's an emphasis on personalization. And so tell us a bit about how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because these days you can buy insurance online, right? I'm sure if you watch YouTube, your videos on YouTube, that you see that beginning ad, which is for Zen Insurance, right? It's an online quote. You do it through online, you do it on the computer. So at this rate, anyone can sell you insurance, right? But the big aspect of just going online, filling out a form, is the underwriter doesn't understand what your operations are, right? There could be certain nuances that make your risk better than just filling out a form. So with Navor, and what I like to preach is, our first conversation is not necessarily about me pitching you a product, right? Because anyone can do that. It's me learning about your business, me trying to figure out, what type of risk you have, if we've got examples in our office that you can benefit from, and just learning overall and seeing, if we're a good match person to person, not just necessarily, hey, here's a product, I can beat you on price. I can beat XYZ on price, right? It's learning about your business, being involved in your business and watching that grow, and being a partner that you can leverage, instead of just being like, hey, James, I have a new car I want to insure, or, I'm adding this operation to my business. What can we do, right? Can you get me the cheapest quote out of it? It's, hey, James, I thought about this 2 months ago. What do you think are the repercussions if I start a different operation out of my business? And it's just being there throughout those steps versus
interesting.
A more proactive step than something reactive, because that's what I found throughout the industry, is that a lot of the times brokers can be reactive instead of proactive.
Yeah, no, that's great. And obviously it's, I guess so. Especially if you're looking at venturing out into a different service or something, and there may be different risk management there I never thought about that aspect of having that discussion about what that entails, and may need a different different type of coverage. Or
absolutely, even on the building side, right? It's very, very interesting that let's say you want to take on a new project, there's a bid out there, and you might not have the limits appropriate to offer that bid, right? So then it's, working with your broker to be like, hey, I have certain projects I want to bid on. Are my limits sufficient? And just working with a partner rather than being like, hey, I have this bid. I won it already. What's my cost on insurance? Right. So that you can plan in the future. Like, hey, if I have a building contract that's, that needs a 10 million liability limit or an errors and emissions of 5 million, what can I forecast for my rate for that portion of insurance for my next couple bids, right? Then you kind of know on your forecast and your year-end books, hey, I need X amount of money, right? So it's something similar to that.
Okay. No, that's awesome. And I mean, one of the things too that most people, when they think about insurance, they think about it like how to buy it, but you the way it's portrayed for you, it's a long-term security, not just protection. So how does that, like, what's the nuance between long-term security and, say, protection?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very similar to that last point. It's, a lot of people think that, or almost everyone's like, I have to have insurance as a requirement, right? It really boils down to those bids, right? So not necessarily on the property side, but some of the construction companies, you have to have a certain errors and emissions limit for a job that you're bidding on, right? So let's say you have it a higher limit. Some of those vendors can look at you and say, hey, this person's got more than we actually need. Maybe they're the better fit than the smaller org or another org that has just enough limits to get by, right? So it's protecting you from, it's giving you the opportunity to bid on bigger jobs, to ask more on the contracts and stuff like that. Right. So it opens the realm of what you can chase after if you've got higher limits or if you've got a more encompassing insurance policy than just managing insurance for what you need in front of you. Right. It's to look at what you need in the future and how you're going to get there.
Forecasting, potential. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. No, that's interesting. And I mean, obviously, like I know I deal with several insurance companies, and full disclosure, I don't do business with you.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I mean, one of the things too is, the insurance people, the insurance broker, like there's one I've been dealing with since I have my driver's license. Yeah. Always dealt with them, and it's, but over the years I've had to explore for different coverages for different properties and so on. So what, like, I mean, when somebody's exploring, commercial insurance or the types of services that you bring to the table, like, a lot of times people think they're dealing with salespeople, right? So how does one identify that somebody's being more of a partner as opposed to somebody who's just trying to sell you a policy?
Yeah,
what's it? Give us the inside scoop from your end. It's a bit of a loaded question. Like from somebody listening in, it's like, as you mentioned, a lot of people just fill in the form online.
Exactly.
That's fair. Obviously, I think that the level of service that you offer doesn't cover that, because that's really for the smaller, the easier stuff. Yeah. I've tried those things online, and it would just tell me after I fill in all the information, your file doesn't qualify. You have to talk to somebody. So like, oh, okay, that was a waste of time. Yeah. So how do you how does somebody, like, how do I identify somebody's just trying to sell me something as opposed to,
very true,
being a partner?
Absolutely. Yeah. For sure. Like, I don't know, within the sales industry, you have those quote unquote, those salesmen, like the sleazy car sales guys, right? Which is not necessarily, a couple bad apples ruins the face of an industry to a degree. But for myself and for, Navor and a lot of other insurance professionals I met, it's about having the conversation with your client, right? It's listening to what their concerns are and asking those, hey, what do you think your growth is in 5 years? What challenges do you expect on, the talent side? Is there a solution?
Did you say the talent side?
Yeah, talents, right? Yeah. Like even like employees, right? Like, are you having an issue with retaining employees, right?
Does that change something for insurance?
Looking for stable income-producing assets? At Dore, we help clients buy and sell commercial properties that deliver long-term value. From multifamily buildings to turnkey retail and office investments, let's talk about your next smart move. Visit us at doremultiresidential.com.
Because we can offer health benefits, right? Like there's another side of it, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah. For us, we offer everything from personal lines to health and benefits, like RSP matching, massage, chiropractics, that sort of stuff. And then also additionally for what I focus on, the commercial lines, right? Which is your liability, property, errors and omissions, directors, officers, list goes on and on and on. But it's trying to work with someone that can encompass everything, right? To be that one-stop shop versus, hey, I have to piecemeal, my benefits for my employees at Canada Life, or I have to do the commercial lines through somewhere else. Then I have to do my own personal cars through another brokerage, right? It's really trying to focus and see what your insurance professional asks you based off of, are they going to be involved with your business, right? Do you trust this person to be involved? And trust it's earned, right? Trust is not built over one night. Trust is earned throughout many interactions. And it's just seeing if your insurance professional show up, when you ask them to, right? So even for some of my prospects, it's they're out in the country. I love to go see them because, how many good emails are overwritten by a conversation face to face, right?
Face to face, you can't beat it.
You can't beat face to face. So is that person willing to meet you at your office, on the job site? I'm willing to go anywhere, right? Because I understand that if you're working on a job site, you're overseeing one of your projects as the GC, you're not going to have time to look at your email and then manage 3 or 4 people at the same time. So if you have 10 minutes to just show up at the job site or your office or wherever, and you have that human to human connection, I think that is how you seek out a good insurance professional.
Yeah. And you were mentioning too, like Navor is a broker.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the fascinating things experience I have with insurance is, and I always preface this comment with, I naively thought, when I was younger and you got your driver's license and then you start, buy a house and then real estate and so on. Naively, I would thought that as I grew and improved myself, that one insurance company or one would want to take all the business. And then when it comes to lending, everybody would want all the business. But it's been the opposite. And I always say it's one of two things. Either because I naively thought that was, because then all of a sudden they have their leverage and they're like, okay, no, we can't take any more. And all of a sudden I'm dealing with 4 different insurance companies, and 6 different banks. And I'm always, so in my mind, every time I talk to somebody insurance or lending, I always bring up this story because I'm trying to find the secret sauce.
No, it makes sense.
It's either because that's the way it is, or either I'm seen as too risky or too small.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I'm pitching it out with insurance because at Navor, and obviously if you bring all these things in, is the focus to get certain slivers, say, of the insurance buy. So say, like we talked about multi-res, say, I really want to develop the multi-res, but Navor doesn't have appetite for, vehicles or whichever. Is the focus for you more about finding the client and just insuring everything, or just finding the client and saying, I want to find the people that have this niche in the insurance industry?
Absolutely. No, for Navor itself, it's trying to be, because we're the broker, we have access to hundreds of different markets, right? So you could have, my ideal client is we've got, your property, we've got the property, we've got the liability, we've got errors and omissions, we've got the building, we've got the fleet, we've got everything under one, right? The nice thing about being a broker is we have different markets that will want to take on, your multi-res, or want to take on the high-rise, or want to take on.
So what you mean home, it's different, right? Different insurance providers through the Navor.
Exactly, brokerage. Yeah. So we have access to just this wide net of different insurers, and like I said previously, we've got very significant relationships with people that write auto, people that like to build the multi-res, or just frame and office buildings and et cetera, right? So I think to encompass it as Navor and myself, I don't like to just do one sliver. It's to find the holistic solution for everything that you have. So to be that one-stop shop, because
that's the objective for you.
Yeah, that was the objective, right? Because even before I came into insurance and in banking, it was the same thing. Like I had never banked at the Bank of Montreal, and I never had just one insurance policy. I had one for like my condo that I was renting, one for the car. They wanted to wrap it together, and then banking was different. It was who would give me the best rate on a GIC or et cetera. And piecemealing 3 or 4 banks together was hard to keep track of, right? Same thing with, you've got one one insurance policy for X, one insurance policy for Y and Z, and trying to keep track of it, right? The thing that I like to do is to make it easy for my clients, is to certainly just be that one touch point. If you have a question, I can't answer it on the spot, I'll find a solution. That's the nice thing about having Navor throughout Canada, is we've got expertise all over the world, or all over Canada. And if someone hasn't dealt with something similar, someone else has probably dealt with something similar. So we can always find a solution for anything under the umbrella, or anything under the sun.
And you find that people who would deal through Navor, do you find that they have everything insured through them, or they still have slivers?
Yeah, so I think they still have slivers. We're certainly trying to grow that personal line side, because some people still like to keep
personal line?
So car, home and auto.
Oh, personal.
Yeah,
okay.
personal lines. Yeah,
of
sorry.
course. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I like personal line. Okay. Yeah. No. Fair enough. Yeah.
Well, there's personal line lendings. Yeah.
No, I get it now. Yeah. No, at first I'm like, personal line. What is that?
Yeah, that's no. Like your home and auto, your personal home and auto. That book we're trying to grow more and more. But for sure, we've still seen there's going to be people that have their commercial properties with us, or commercial liabilities, and we haven't been able to tap into their personal side yet.
Sure.
But even recently, since my time in Navor, everyone's come together a lot closer to pitch the whole holistic idea versus, hey, I just do personal home and auto. I'm not going to really care about what they have as a business, right? So even recently, a lot of the personal lines staff that we have been giving us referrals, and same thing with my commercial clients. I ask them, hey, like how is your home and auto? Are you satisfied with what you have? I have a fantastic colleague that is able to help you, so that we can become that one touch point versus you talking to 3 people or 3 different, 5 different people to handle your portfolio.
Okay.
Right.
And so if you had to describe the ideal client that fits into the realm of what you're looking at,
yeah,
what is that like? What would that person have in terms of breadth of assets? That like what does that look like?
Honestly, anything under the sun, right? Okay. It could be your small mom and pop cookie shop, or small mom and pop.
But there's a commercial element to it.
Commercial element,
right?
Yeah, for me, and then also for the personal lines, right? Like we want to encompass everything together. Ideally, I encompass everything, but I know insurance is a very relationship-based product, right? Like if you've been with your insurer and you know them really well for the last 20, 25 years, I'm not going to push myself into that relationship. As long as you're happy with your relationship, that's satisfactory to me. That's very, very pleasing for me, right? But I like to challenge that, because I do see in the insurance industry or banking or kind of anywhere in sales is people get complacent and there's high turnover, right? So
high turnover
as in like your account exec. So like myself, right. So people moving different companies,
right? So you don't have the relationship is lost, because the relationship is with the account rep and not necessarily with the company.
Exactly, yeah. And then same thing, like you get to a point, or some people get to the point where your book grows as an account executive. Your book grows to a certain amount, and you kind of forget a couple people along the way, but. That's just generally how it works. Like you can't make time all the time for everybody. You really have to set an organized calendar and go from there. But for me, it's trying to get enough time for everyone. The ideal client would be, we can do everything under one umbrella. If you're happy with your existing policies, let us review it so that we can take a look. If you're missing a coverage, if you're paying too much compared to something recent that we did, just to do a review even. And try to, again, if you like your relationship, you're happy where you are, more power to you. If you want to try something new, we're always here for you as well. Our lines are open.
That's fair. No, that's good. And obviously the insurance market, there's been major shifts with valuation of real estate and risk. And the gentleman we had before is in commercial sales, and we were talking about volatility. So, like in the market today, what do property owners and investors, what should they look for? Because you hear, like we've had at certain points over the last few years, we had skyrocketing insurance premiums go up on real estate, and but for no rhyme or reason, but obviously the value went up, so they're readjusting and make sure everybody's covered. But like today, in today's world, like we're 2025 as we're doing this, like what are you seeing? Like the market's still in flux, I think.
Yeah.
And insurance obviously follows, because obviously depending on the whatever risk they were involved in, and they're trying to recalibrate. So what do property owners need to look at? Look for actually
on the commercial side? Sorry, for sure. On the commercial side, we've been in a soft market actually for the last 2 years. So this year, 2024, 2025.
What do you mean by soft market?
So a market where you're seeing premiums decrease.
Okay.
Right. So during the pandemic, 4 years. About
so
4 years.
For us is good. It's good for us.
It's good for you.
Not good for you. Okay.
It gives us a little more competition at the end of the day. Competition's healthy, right?
That's fair.
So during the pandemic, you saw crazy catastrophic losses, right? Like the fires in BC, that affects your property rates. The hurricanes in Florida, that will affect your property rate as well. And throughout that time, there were maybe 2 or 3 reinsurers. So the insurers that insure the insurers. There's a tongue twister.
Additional cover,
There's probably only 2 to 3 players in that space, very limiting the capacity that's available to the end user, to the insurers and the end user. As of last year, we saw that grow from 2 to 3 to maybe 8 to 10 reinsurers coming back into the market, giving additional capacity. So the last 2 years, you should have seen some sort of decline in your premium. So that's the one.
I gotta call you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the one thing that I tell.
I love these podcasts. You see, I'm saving money just having these podcasts.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. It's I tell everyone that I meet. I'm doing a lot of networking events recently. It's just, if your insurance provider is not marketed your account in 2 to 3 years, it's a good idea to challenge them to do that now, because you will see significant savings on property, on liability, on anything. So the market's bounced back quite a bit from the pandemic. It hasn't returned to the normal, but it's definitely on the decline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some. That piece of advice is everybody that's listening to this. Just that, I think, is. So I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any decrease or any. Mind you, I haven't done any studying of what the fee should be like. But I think that's overdue.
It is. I would say it's overdue. Your insurance. Prior to the pandemic, it was about building relationships, right? So your insurer, who you're with, you should have tried to meet them, had a conversation with them and kind of build a relationship with the same insurer. Throughout the pandemic, as rates kept on increasing, if you shopped at that time, everybody would have given you a higher price or a very similar price. But now that we're in the soft market, bigger organizations like Aviva, Intact, a lot of people are dropping premium just to chase after market share, right? The market leverage, they want to chase after that portion of it. So if you haven't shopped it, I would certainly probe your broker to be like, hey, when can we shop the rate? What can we do?
Selling a commercial property? At Dore, we know how to attract the right buyers, price strategically, and help you get over the finish line and close. Let us market your asset the right way and help you get the returns you deserve. Visit us at doremultiresidential.com.
I said I was really looking forward to having this chat with you. Now I love you even more.
Save you some money at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. That's always fun.
Yeah.
And obviously, Navor operates on a national scale, as you alluded to earlier. So how do you navigate the broad exposure with the personal touch?
The nice thing about Navor is when I was first probing around, because I had some colleagues that joined within the last year or 2 years, is that I found it was a very flat organization, right? My previous colleagues, they were able to call the CEO of their division and they would be on the phone immediately, right? The owners would personally reach out to say, hey, congrats for joining, let's have a conversation, let's get to know each other. So even now, with me being on board since August, I've reached out to the CEO of what was Insurance or now Navor, and he was available for a call just to, figure out what my skill set would look like, where I'd want to grow in the next couple of years, and he was invested into my future. And same thing with our experts across Canada. Like we've got construction leaders, we've got mining leaders, auto fleet leaders, cyber, airs and emissions, kind of leaders in every industry. You can message them on Teams and they'll respond to you within 30 minutes, right? Like they're quick. They want to help. They want to see Navor grow as a total company, which is really helpful because, you know, if I don't have the answer, I've been in the industry for 4 years, 2 years as an account exec, I still might not know the correct answers. I can leverage all the heads of the industries to be like, hey, I have a very specific question. How have you dealt with it? What risk do you see? My client wants to expand into maybe blasting stuff for foundations. What can you give me your expertise on it? And then we'll jump on a call the client, and kind of, you know, make that holistic approach from expertise to pricing to.
I guess you, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is my assumption, but if somebody hires you as a broker, you're representing the interest of the client, trying to sell that business to insurance providers.
Absolutely, yeah. We're there to advocate for you, right? So
you look at the nuances and try to get a sense of, okay, what's important for this insurance provider, or okay, this insurance provider has appetite for this type of risk, or
absolutely, okay. Yeah. And at the same time, leveraging our experts that have been in the industry for 20 plus years, 30 years, they know what a good risk will look like, right? Especially on property, multi-res. You know, what does a good contractor look like? How are the contracts between you and your contractor? What items should be listed, right? We can leverage that expertise because we've got people who've been in the industry for 20, 30 years. And that's all they do is they look at, you know, how to grow or how to help and manage risk for those property home builders, for multi-res, for et cetera, et cetera. So it's just going through the contract review, sitting down with the client.
So you go deep into that.
And we go deep. We can review all those contracts. I actually had one for a lease of a friend of mine that was starting a new company out in Orleans. He sent me, he's like, hey, I have this really weird looking insurance clause on my lease. And I was like, yeah, send it over to me, text it to me, do whatever. And I looked through it. I was like, oh, they're asking for you to insure the HVAC in the building. I was like, oh, that's not your property, right? So I had him push back on that. We got it sorted out.
Insure the HVAC.
Yeah, it's weird because the HVAC is part of the building. It's not just. And the limit was, I think,
was like half. Commercial?
Commercial lease space.
Yeah, I could see it's an extra. Yeah, but I guess insurance you could. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, it was the actual the AC and the piping and all that was on top of the building, right? Not necessarily in their unit. And it was asking.
But then usually it's proportionate share, though. But
usually proportional share. But for him, it was an astronomical amount. It was like $200,000 to just do the HVAC. And I was like, okay, well, you're a couple buildings. You're not a huge building. I don't see how you'd put up $200,000 as a limit. Yeah, right? That almost cover the complete entirety of the unit.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I haven't seen that in the other leases that I got forwarded. So we pushed back on them, and they're able to reduce it to like 50,000 instead of 200K.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're able to do contract reviews, look for proper limits, and do that, right? That's our expertise, and that's part of being a good insurance broker, is involving contract review and being there every step of the way. It's not just, again, selling you a certain product.
Yeah, no, and that's where the personalization comes in, and it's interesting. You always have to look at those additional clauses,
and they're long. Some of those additional clauses can be very long, right?
Sometimes you read it and you make nothing of it, but that's good then.
Yeah, same thing with like growing operations. Like if you're in a risky business, such as mining, right? It's, you know, not necessarily pertaining to property management, but, you know, there's certain exclusions for work that are, you know, Intact might not like to do, right? Or Viva doesn't like to do it. They'll exclude it, and you might not pick up on that until you're actually performing the work, right? So it's our job, and it's part of my team, and what we like to do is to do a review and say, hey, you know, that exclusion shouldn't be on this paper, go back to them, and, you know, we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah,
right.
And for you, James, with Navor, like, how does it, like, do you serve a territory? Because obviously, if it's national brand, do you have a territory that you cover, or are you insurance anywhere that you have clients?
Honestly, a little bit everywhere, like anywhere from BC to Ontario to the East Coast.
But
right?
for you personally, like
personally,
could be the account exec
Yeah, absolutely. So I can be
So it's not restrictive to a.
not geographically to Ottawa specifically. Like for right now, it's mainly where I can get out to, which is Ottawa, Kingston. Fair. So I've been to Kingston a couple times to try to see what's out there, all the way to like Castleman, Limoges, that area, right? To kind of encompass the whole territory, because there's lots of businesses within that area, and people, like I said, either get complacent in their insurance, or
I think we all do that.
They lose their account executive, and then they get passed around. And I've heard last night at one of the networking events, there was a smaller company. They got passed around from one person to another, and he got fed up. He's like, I need someone on my side all the time, and he found his own broker at that point. So, but yeah, I'm not limited to just Ottawa, but Ottawa surrounding, and then BC, pretty much anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good to know. No, that's good. Yeah. Cause obviously when I was curious to see, cause obviously if somebody they listen to you or they deal with you and they have, and they have, assets in this area in a different province, it's good to know that you could be essentially their point of contact for everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not restricted to a certain territory.
No, absolutely. I'd love to be that person that finds you the appropriate solution. Again, even if I can't do it, there's someone on my team that can.
Yeah.
And it's just being that one person for everything, right? To leverage my network. And that's what I like to do. I like to provide solutions based off of my existing network to what my clients need. Like one example was recently one of my clients had his truck stolen out of his driveway. It was brand new, right? Which happens, apparently. But that was the thing. He's like, hey, my truck got stolen. I was like, oh, did you go to the dealership yet to find a truck replacement? He's like, yeah, I went to go talk to Toyota. They said it's about 6 month wait, blah, blah, blah. No. Massive wait. And then, we insure some of the dealerships. I reached out to my friend that's a GM at one. I was like, hey, my client's looking to replace his truck that just got stolen with the same truck, but we'll add some anti-theft stuff this time. And within, I think, about a month, we had him back on the road with a new truck.
Okay.
So just leveraging that network that I have internally to help you, to help me, to help everyone, right? To be that one touch point in the community.
No, that's awesome. That's great. That's great. When we do these podcasts, we always try to get a sense of if any voices that you listen to online, to try to get a sense of what that is. And you pointed out Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah, Gary V is a great. Yeah. It's very motivational.
Yeah. And what do you like? What mindset or what part of him is it that keeps you listening?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't listened to Gary V too much recently. It's not enough time in the day to do it, but.
You're trying to build a book of business.
Exactly, yeah. So previously it was the storytelling and listen with empathy, right? And to truly be yourself, and right, not to just worry about that end product, but to worry about how to get to that end product, right? Is to truly be yourself. Don't listen to other people's opinions. Don't let other people, get in your head. And, being a kid, I was never a very confident person. And, I always sought out other people's opinions, but Gary V's approach is just be yourself, do what you need to do, tell your story, and everything else will come, right? Yeah. And I think that approach is what I like to do in my own realm of selling. And same thing with Navor. That brand recognition through Navor is to listen, and then find a solution, right? It's knowing your client, knowing yourself, and truly just being yourself. And if you're a nice person, people gravitate towards you, right? So I appreciate your kind words of you saying at RIMS, you wanted me on a podcast because
it's genuine, right? Obviously. Literally, Mike was there, Rochelle, the three of us, and we had a good chat that evening. We chatted with a few people, but you stood out, and we're like, what a nice guy. Like, it was just fun to talk to you and the experience, and obviously very personable. It's fun. It's easy to talk to. So it's great.
Yeah, and that's what I like. That's my personal philosophy, is just I'm going to be myself. I like to listen to people. I like to hear people talk about their business, because that's what's most important to them. And the sales side of it will come later. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, I've got a new friend that I can
exactly. See, I got a friend now. And I think if anybody listening to this, they have to remember that a soft market in insurance is actually a good thing. In real estate, not so much. To me, soft market, is that a good thing? You pointed that out as a good thing. I'm like, oh, okay, I learned something.
There you go. It's always good.
So, James, I want to be respectful of your time. You were gracious enough to come in, and thank you for joining us today on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast to reconnect with you, Rochelle, and Mike again. You guys are an amazing team here, and love to see the social media push. So glad to be part of the process.
Thank you. Yeah. And if anybody listening to this wants to reach out to you, like what are the best ways to reach out to you?
Via email would be the best. James.lee@navicore.com.
And Lee is
L-I.
L-I.
Yes. Yeah. Short and sweet. So james.li@navicore.com.
Yeah. Navor. Yeah. So we'll put that in the show notes and all that.
Yeah.
So.
And then or by cell. So I'll get you guys to drop my cell in there too. If I say it online, I think I'll get a million spam calls.
Yeah. Exactly. We'll embed it somewhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
Only the serious people that want to take advantage of the soft insurance market.
Do it. You'll save a ton of money. It is absolutely worth reaching out to an insurance broker or someone new, just like myself. So do it.
You said save money, and I felt myself smiling. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, but again, it's not just about saving money. I want to be part of your business. I want to see you flourish.
Kidding, but it's a warranted. Because obviously, I think that a lot of people, I'm mostly in multi-res, so obviously we've seen an aggressive increase in multi-res insurance premiums in the last several years. So to hear that, I think most of us would benefit from having somebody review our policies or perhaps look at switching companies. So so thank you for bringing that up. That's great. Problem. So for all the listeners, thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Dore Podcast, and don't forget to like and turn on your notifications so you never miss another conversation. Have a good day.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dore Podcast. If you're an entrepreneur or investor focused on real estate in Ottawa, we want to hear from you. Apply to be a guest and check out our video content anytime on YouTube.